Welcome back to the Diamond K Show. Today we're talking about a milestone that is both historic and alarming. The U.S. national debt has crossed 37 trillion. That is 37 trillion. And I'm with a T. That's right. $37 trillion. This isn't just a headline. This is a reality that affects every single one of us, directly or indirectly. Let's unpack it and talk about what it really means. We're going to be breaking down the number. Now, let's get a sense of scale. $37 trillion is almost impossible to picture. If you stack $1 bills, that pile would stretch to the moon and back multiple times. The U.S. has added 1 trillion in just the past 5 months. That's like swiping a credit card for $1 million every single second. But unlike a household credit card, the U.S. government can print money and borrow in ways you and I can't. Still, just because you can borrow doesn't mean there are not consequences. So you may ask yourself, what is driving the debt? Why is the debt rising so fast? There are a few big factors, and let's talk about it now. Spending versus revenue. The government spends more than it collects. That's the basic math. Tax revenues haven't kept up with the pace of spending. Now, there's also a pandemic legacy. COVID emergency spending added trillions in a short time. That's stimulus checks, unemployment boosts, business relief. That money helped keep the economy alive, but it came with a bill. Also, interest payments. This is the kicker. As the debt grows, the cost to service that debt, just paying the interest, it grows as well. Today, the U.S. spends more on interest payments than it does on national defense. Let me say that again. The U.S. spends more on interest payments than it does on our national defense. Think about that. There have also been some policy choices, from tax cuts to social programs to military funding. Decisions from both parties have fueled the rise. Decisions from Democrats and Republicans. This isn't just a Democrat problem or a Republican problem. This is an American problem. And that's why we should care. So the average person should be concerned about this, because debt doesn't just sit there. This is going to trickle into your life in ways you might not notice until it hits your pocket. That's going to come in higher interest rates on loans and mortgages as markets demand more return to lend to the U.S. Pressure on future tax hikes, because eventually the revenue has to catch up. That's why they constantly say we're making decisions that are going to affect our kids and grandkids. Less money for programs that we all rely on, like Social Security, Medicare, education, and infrastructure. In short, the bigger the debt, the fewer choices we actually have. It limits what America can do in a crisis, whether that's a war, another pandemic, or a financial meltdown. Now let's talk about the political fight ahead. This is going to be one of the defining political battles of the next decade. Do we cut spending? Do we raise taxes? Do we reform entitlement programs? None of those answers are going to be popular, but ignoring it just keeps the number climbing. And here's the reality. Politicians love to promise without paying the bill. Cutting taxes is popular. Expanding programs, also popular. But saying that we need to cut spending or we need to raise taxes, that's not how you win elections. And so the debt keeps rising. 37 trillion isn't just a number. It's a mirror showing us how America manages its priorities. The big question is, will we face it now while we still have some control, or will we wait until the debt forces hard choices on America? I want to hear from you. Does this debt milestone worry you? Or do you think America can keep managing like we always have? You're locked into the Diamond K Show. My name is Diamond K, of course. On all social media, I am at the Diamond K Show. Need to get in touch with me, djdiamondk@gmail.com. Of course, on Substack, hit us up there. On YouTube, I'm DJ Diamond K. But stay locked in. There's more after this.